Okay, so I think the topic for today is something that I have been kind of following the whole weekend, and it's this Jay-Z NFL deal. It's it's been kind of weighing on my mind. I don't know how you felt about it overall, Myles.
Let me go ahead and just run it. Number one, I, it didn't take much for me, honestly speaking. Like when I heard about it, I don't know if I'm just that fucking woke that when I heard about it, I kind of felt that okay, it's definitely a little more to this, and I'm going to be patient enough to see exactly what this is going to be.
Yeah, I wasn't very happy when I heard about the deal as well. I mean, I know what's going on in regard to people boycotting the NFL, but when I saw it, I saw a bigger move than just what the title of the article read. So I just want to take a quick moment. I'm gonna just go into what the partnership and the deal actually entails from what I was able to find on the official NFL website. It's not something that I'm just kind of throwing out of my ass here. But ultimately, I really start from the beginning. So I think everybody knows about the whole Colin Kaepernick situation and how I think they have at least a rudimentary understanding of what happened there. You know, Colin Kaepernick knelt and he pretty much was protesting and got fired from the NFL and blackballed. I think that's the collective consensus of how the story goes, unless you remember it differently.
No, he was blackballed. He took a knee, and he was blackballed. He also sued the NFL. And if I know any better, I know if I was to do something at my job that resulted in me losing my job, and then I turn around and sue them, I don't know if I could expect to be hired back by them. That's all I got.
Okay, that was a little bit of information. A little bit more than what I asked for, but I'm gonna plow through it. I'm gonna plow through it. But yeah. So he was ultimately unjobbed from the NFL. So that was in 2016.
But I want to say this though, like I'm laughing and I got my keys. Don't get it twisted. I do still respect and appreciate what he did and what he meant by doing such a thing. So let's not. I definitely don't want us to lose track of that. The main thing I want us to keep in mind is the reason why we're referencing it is because of comments that's being made, and with Jay-Z making this deal, of course, the first thing that people ran back to was, "Oh my God, well, what did Colin Kaepernick have to think, and what does he have to say?" And it's like, I understand the correlation, and I get that wholeheartedly, but truth be told, is baby, my money moves don't got nothing to do, or the way in which I get involved in the issues is not going to be the same way in the level that you get involved in the issues. And to be truth be told, and we want to really say it, we dealing with two different volumes of money.
Right, and it's a timeline. It's a timeline here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that I want to follow. I don't know. I definitely want to follow that. All right, but I definitely I appreciate you chiming in. That's why we're here doing this together. But so we definitely understand that in 2016 that's where the process actually began. So there were a couple of football players, and forgive me for not knowing their names. But in 2017, they founded the Players Coalition. This is something that was, I guess, not collectively created in the NFL for a lot of players to come to, but I guess since then it's done a lot. But the Players Coalition is the mission of theirs is to support programs and initiatives that reduce barriers to opportunity. So what they have a main focus on education and economic advancement in certain communities, police and community relations in those same communities, as well as they have a focus on criminal justice reform. So those things together, I think, kind of go directly to what Kaepernick was kneeling for, mainly the the police brutality. the police and community relations definitely goes right to that in kind of fixing that problem. That the creation of a players coalition in the NFL kind of goes to that issue of what Kaepernick was kneeling for. So I'm not sure if you knew any of that or what what the players coalition what even is or was.
I look okay. So let me just go ahead and do this confession. Like I said, when I first heard about it, I didn't even jump off a bridge and jump deep into the details. I read over everything just like enough to say, okay, it's a little more to the story. I ain't finna lose my damn mind. And so I did hear about the Players Coalition, in which I was like, okay, this must be something to it. So you did kind of provide me a little more in terms of details. I'm not gonna jump ahead anymore. I'm going to
no, please say what you
but
want.
But I'm gonna say this though. But I am gonna say that I do have my feelings in terms of everything, and I just didn't want to like be jumping ahead and just running to conclusions and making accusations that are not there and stuff of that sort. But we're gonna bring it back to Evan.
Thank you. But okay, so and I think it's really safe to say that the creation of the Players Coalition again was a direct result of the kneeling that Kaepernick started in 2016. So that's something that was created from Colin Kaepernick, which is great. So moving forward, I think that the NFL has been kind of feeling the pain in the numbers, the dwindling numbers. I mean, they're still $1 billion corporation. Don't get me wrong, but when you're making $1 billion, you don't want to make $1 less than that the next year. So they're going to kind of feel the financial crunch of that. So that. The fact that those numbers did go down, again, a direct result of Kaepernick's kneeling, which kind of spearheaded this whole move. Again, I think that's a good thing. So, moving forward to today, actually early 2019, if you will, the NFL actually created the official Inspire Change initiative. That is ultimately, they have the same mission statement. As far as I've read, they have the same mission statement as the Players Coalition, in that they will be having a primary focus on education and economics, the police and community relations, ultimately trying to reduce, if not eradicate, police brutality in our communities, our being the black community, the black and brown community, and having a focus on the criminal justice reform. So, again, the Aspire Change Initiative and the Players Coalition are two entities that have been created as a direct result of Colin Kaepernick's kneeling. Now, I keep focusing on all this going back to being a direct result of Colin Kaepernick's kneeling, because one of the things and one of the gripes I have that I'm seeing online is that people are thinking that Jay-Z's hijacking, or Jay-Z has betrayed Colin Kaepernick in a way. Jay-Z is like hijacking what Colin Kaepernick tried to do. I'm very confused by that. I don't see how people are seeing that. Even a little bit, I don't see that, but people are very much so saying that online, and it disturbs me. It disturbs me.
You know what it kind of reminds me of a little bit?
What's that?
When you think about Rosa Parks, and I don't need nobody trying to get with me on this. I'm just using this as an example.
Okay.
But Rosa Parks, to the best of my understanding, wasn't the first person to refuse to get up from the front of the bus.
Right.
But yet she is the one that we are most, that's the most memorable. And the thing about this whole NFL, treatment to Colin, and even, I guess you say the insensitivity in terms of, what was actually going on in, the expression, or, allowing that expression or something to that effect, or what have you, or at least more protection on your players. And I'll say that in a sense. I feel that Jay-Z is coming behind, and he's not necessarily, and he's being, in essence, like that Rosa Parks. He's found another way to get involved. He's found another way to say, hey, you know what? I want to make sure that we don't have another situation to where we have another Colin Kaepernick. And a person who spoke out against social injustice and now is sitting here, unfortunately, without a job. Or, what I'm saying, and now it's the target of all of this negativity. And everybody's fight is not going to be the same. It's just not.
Right.
And like I said, you're looking at two different individuals with two different professions. And like I said earlier, with two different amounts of money. Where one person can kneel and that be what they do and throw $100,000 at, different organizations, from years dating from the kneel. Of course, yeah, that's what you can do. But I have to look at the fact that as soon as I heard it, I was just like, oh, okay. I think that this is going to be something a little bit bigger. And I'm going to wait to see how this pans out.
Right. Okay, I definitely feel you on that. And that Jay-Z can kind of take what Colin Kaepernick is doing and take it to the moon and to the stars. And what you were referencing earlier, no, Rosa Parks wasn't the first person to, of course, and I'm sure there were dozens, if not, hundreds more who refused. But I know specifically, I forget her name, but there was a teenager who refused to give up her seat, and it could have become a bigger thing, but the movement, the civil rights movement, didn't want to use her because she was pregnant. I don't know whether she was pregnant at the time, had already been a teenage mother, but that would have tainted the movement, and then they didn't want to use her. So I just bring that up to let that young woman not be forgotten by history. I know she was a part of the movement just as much as Rosa Parks was. So I just kind of want to throw that out there. I don't want nobody coming at you saying, "Oh, she was the first," even though that ain't what any of this is about. But
she's just the more well-known.
Right. So yeah, kind of keep it with the timeline a little bit. Kind of getting towards the end because this is what I just said was early 2019 in regard to the Inspire Change initiative being created. But with this new partnership, yeah, I'll just state the obvious. The thing that most people were referencing when they would even speak about this deal. Yes, Live Nation, Jay-Z's entity or conglomerate, if I'm using the right word, they will pretty much be responsible for all of NFL's kind of like live music in regard to who will perform at the Super Bowl, all of their all of the kind of like live music direction. So he'll be in control of that essentially, which is a money move, and I think that itself is one of the reasons I get to later why people are upset with him. But I'm not necessarily mad at that. But another part, and what I feel to be the most important part of this partnership, is the social justice that will follow. So, what I was able to find on the NFL website is that this partnership is going to have the official NFL offices as well as official NFL teams. They're going to be partnering with the Players Coalition. So they're going to be partnering with the Players Coalition in addition to individual NFL players even. So you know how you might have these individual... And I know nothing about sports. I'm sitting here racking my brain trying to think of one football player that's currently playing right now.
Let's choose this Steele guy that's on the Miami Dolphins. Let's choose him.
I don't want to because he said something that was not appropriate to my line of thinking. But anyway, pick your favorite footballer. That individual has a like a small nonprofit in Camden. Is that in New Jersey? Camden, New Jersey?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I took
So,
Jeremy.
right. So they have a little nonprofit in a small area town that individual sees a need. Like, hey, these kids don't have anything to eat for lunch, so I'm going to get them school lunches. They take little initiatives like that. So the NFL will have to. Well, now I guess I can say have to partner with those individuals to funnel essentially NFL money that would otherwise have been sitting in a bank account at the NFL with some of these owners. That money will now be allocated to those individuals, these certain communities that need it. Frankly, I mean, again, just kind of going to all these individual communities and trying to advance their education as well as their economic situations. Trying to this is another beast in regard to police and community relations, but they are going to be funding programs that would help those situations out to kind of to bridge the gaps there that are created. I don't know how much of this is sounding to you so far, Myles. Like, does it sound like something that Jay-Z would like? Does it sound like a good thing that Jay-Z is doing, or?
I say yes. I definitely say yes because, like I said, you have to. Everybody can't. You have to find your way. You have to find your way. It's no secret that Jay-Z has been silently doing things, and and doing things with a little more noise in terms of funding certain projects and stuff of that sort and whatever what have you, and other things that other moves that him and Beyonce have made as well. So there's really no secret to that. Like, we can definitely say Kaepernick has made donations to various organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And so we definitely know that Jay-Z has done the same thing as well. Now let's take it up a notch. Jay-Z is getting actually a little more involved in coming up and having a seat at the table. And I tried to do a little research, and I may be wrong. If somebody finds something, please let me know. But I was trying to see where Colin Kaepernick, yes, you took a knee, and whatever have you. But so did you go into any communities and try to start having conversations in terms of, hey, what can we do to start changing things? And if so, trying to work with the implementation of things in those particular areas.
You say,
and I'm saying that to say this in terms of going a step beyond the knee, and then taking a step.
He's done playing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just want this to be a little more understanding in terms of that. So okay, we understand that he did a little bit more.
Yeah.
But this was post knee.
I want to say it was pre-knee. I want to say that he's actually done a lot for the community and the fact that I'm not here to question anybody's philanthropy either way. Honestly, I do know that the sacrifice that he's made, whether it was intentional or not, was something for my community and something that I don't want to question.
And it's not, and it really is not anything about questioning or anything of that sort. It's just, it's hard to kind of, first off, it just feels weird to even talk about what Jay-Z is doing right now in terms of with the NFL and the direction that he's trying to take things, and then pull in the Colin Kaepernick situation as if he could, and I guess in essence, have been his life raft, or him making this move to kind of make some changes is, oh, well, he's selling out and he's burying Kaepernick. And I think that if people really took the time to really kind of think about this logically, like, if from every detail that I've read upon and everything that I saw, and I don't follow football enough, so somebody might be out there might be able to tell me different, but it spoke volumes about him as a player before even the knee came into place. How he was as a player, period. Just as a player. I didn't see anything that said that this is a spectacular player. He's going to be the next, I'm about to say a baseball player name, Lord Jesus. But, what I'm saying, the next great thing. I didn't see anything in terms of that. So that's that part. So then you take in the whole knee situation and stuff of that sort. And that has its controversies and stuff like that. you also have the lawsuit, and that has it's all play into it and stuff of that sort. So
I think we're about to have a different conversation here, but
go ahead. But what I'm saying is I don't want to go down the direction of the path of saying that Jay-Z is or has anything to do with that situation. That was its own situation, and that's the point that I was really trying to get to. And now we're dealing with Jay-Z taking his efforts and his stuff to say, hey, you know what? I think I got a way to make things better, or I have a way to actually turn a bad thing into a good thing or a positive thing. And I just think that we were really, really quick to, oh, well, he said that he never was going to do it, and we're going down, oh, well, the NFL ain't do this, and look at how they did Kaepernick, and then da-da-da-da-da-da. And I just felt like we were really, really quick to pass the judgment card and run in without really fully taking in all the details. Even like I said, even for myself, like I'm talking about it now, but I lightly read over it and I was just like, this doesn't seem like what it's being made out to be. And that's about as much as I put on it. But it seemed as if a lot of people just maybe did the same thing and just kind of ran with their narrative or the impression that the writer of whatever story was kind of making it out for them to have. That's all I got.
Right, and I'm definitely going to get into in regard to like just looking at different titles to articles. Everything had a very negative skew in my was skewed negatively in my research for this topic. Just kind of going over the weekend, just looking for simple details of the deal. Everything was kind of buried under negativity, but I'm gonna just sit on everything that you just said there and just kind of go further in regard to Jay-Z's involvement. I don't know if I also said that he would serve as an advisor, essentially to the Inspire Change Initiative. So pretty much having more power to allocate where certain monies would go from the NFL. Because again, I think it should not be taken lightly that what is happening with this partnership is that money will be coming from the NFL and it will be going into African American communities, ones that would have been affected by these issues that Colin was kneeling for. Like, I think that should be the headline.
One complements the other in a sense, I guess, in other words, and if I'm saying that correctly.
One complements the other in regard to...
Colin was the one to bring more attention to not only the fact that we had the police brutality and stuff of that sort, but also the fact that how insensitive the NFL were to what was really going on in the country, right? Especially as it pertained to minorities. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's a way of putting it instead of kind of like, and even I have to be honest because I kind of went down that rabbit hole a little bit. Mm-hmm. And instead of demonizing one or the other, but understanding how it was because of Colin Kaepernick that we are looking at Jay-Z coming in and doing what he's doing. Because let's just put it in perspective. If Jay-Z made this deal, and let's say that nothing happened with Colin Kaepernick and the world was fine in terms of what we thought was going on in the NFL, we probably would have been looking at a totally different deal that was maybe more about financial gain and that being the primary source than anything else. But this is actually a deal where, yeah, I am going to make a little something off of this, but at the same token, this is something that also will be doing good for the community as well.
All right. Okay, so... with that being said, I did want to transition and talk a little bit more in detail about some of the negatives that I saw coming from this story, and some of the things actually seem kind of legitimate. Some things not so much, but I'm gonna kind of just jump into it. So first, people, I don't want to put too many people in this category, but some people were upset that Jay-Z pretty much cheated on Beyonce. And that's why, fuck him, he shouldn't have done this deal. You motherfuckers can just cheat. And I
what does that got to do with anything?
If he'll cheat on his wife, he'll cheat on What are you talking about? And that's a very small amount of you, but I just felt like I needed to talk to you motherfuckers and tell y'all to shut up. Please shut up.
Do I really have to say too much on that part?
No, I don't think we need to give him no more energy.
Okay, I'm okay.
Okay, so also there are some individuals who felt like Kaepernick should have been at the meeting, which kind of goes to what you were just saying. Like the two things, they could be together, but I feel like it's fine for them to be separated in regards to him doing that, and it would have just put too much. It would have took away from what was probably actually going on with him being. I hesitate to say that I pulled that back, but to get to what I was going to actually say, news broke either today or yesterday in regard to Jay-Z potentially being part owner of a football franchise, a football team. That's the word. I feel like Jay-Z could potentially hire Kaepernick 2 years, 3 years down the line. Like, I feel like that's a perfectly plausible scenario.
So, in other words, so a lot of people were pretty much putting the chicken before the egg.
I feel like yes, exactly, or the cart before the horse. Because I'm a firm believer that the chicken did come first. but that's that. I feel like with that news, people should, if nothing else, be able to see that news in regard to him being part owner and then him still not having a job. Say, hey, maybe that could happen. Maybe I shouldn't completely try to down this man because I'm counting his money. I feel like people are just counting Jay-Z's money and they mad at him for going up. He's reached a billionaire threshold that people are envious of at this point. They've been upset with him since he was the $100 million rapper. But yeah, so with that being said, just wait and see. Like, you never know what's going to happen. And another side note, Colin Kaepernick, it was Colin Kaepernick and another football player who got broke off with a check from the NFL. That was like either late last year or early this year. Colin probably don't feel like playing football after seeing the number that was on that check. Number one, like, people just need to chill out in that regard. Like, maybe he doesn't want to work. Maybe there was a clause in the deal that he signed that says he couldn't be in the NFL for X number of years if X doesn't equal infinity. So maybe all of that is at play here, and we all need to not be so judgmental in regards to the way that other people is accumulating money.
So, and I definitely have to say this, truth be told, is that history is still being made, and it's definitely a step for people of color, because there are only two, as of a report from the tail end of 2018, there were only two people of color that were NFL, that are people of color that are owners, and one of them are black. But let's put that out there.
It's just a color.
But they're still people of color. And
it's
the
not
thing,
black.
And so, as black and brown people, like, if that is some level of truth in terms of him definitely being a part of that particular
class,
club, you know what? It's a step, and that gives him a position to be able to say certain things, to be able to do certain things, and he doesn't have to fall in line with everybody else and what everybody else's position is on certain matters, especially like this. I think maybe if we did have a person of color that was involved in the details that came from where these places where things are going on, and it's not so far removed that it's like, oh, this is somebody else's issue, but understands clearly that, hey, no, this could have very well been me. I think we would have been looking at a totally different response.
Right. And I personally just kind of want to touch on, because I try to anticipate people's rebuttals and everything when we're talking. That's probably why I stumble when I be talking sometimes, because for whatever reason I'm in my head. But one argument is that people, like you say, Jay-Z has a seat at the table.
But this we don't know for a fact.
Right. Whatever percentage he gets of whatever the fuck. There is going to be some people who are like, oh, we shouldn't even want to be at the table. Just on some calling Jay-Z Uncle Tom, saying that he cooning. There is that sect of people, and I hear all y'all. I hear you, but in my opinion, that table gonna still exist, whether Jay-Z sitting at it or not. The money gonna be sitting on that table. So I just want somebody who I trust, and a lot of people don't trust Jay-Z to be. People don't trust Jay-Z to be that guy to allocate money across the community, as I feel that they would do it if they had his money, which they don't. You can jump in because I know you want to.
I'm like, okay. This is what I have to say, and
the table should exist. The table should exist is what I'm saying.
The table should exist, and I do agree, and that's where I'm going with. Because the thing about it is this. Do you know how many of these fucking businesses that are out there, how many of these organizations out there did not have a place for people of color? You know how many we have to remember where we came from, because if you forget where you came from, then you don't have a clue to where the fuck you going.
They probably had to sit in at McDonald's, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a point to where we had white sections and colored sections, or we couldn't go and eat in the fucking restaurant at all. In some places. There were certain places where we couldn't be serviced the way that others were serviced. And so the idea of fucking even having a seat or having a franchise or being a manager in a certain business, and that was those little parts were dreams. So to actually have a seat at any of these places at the table, it doesn't make you a sellout. It don't make you white. You're doing the same thing and running after the same privileges that every other MF is around here trying to chase.
And this could be a part of a bigger move for Jay-Z, because I don't count him out no more. I have counted him out in certain stuff before. I don't do it anymore. This could be a bigger move for Jay-Z in regard to what he's probably trying to do in the future in regard to an NFL. Because some of these people who are like, oh, he shouldn't be sitting at the table, I'm certain that a large number of those people would be like, oh, he needs to start his own NFL or something like that. There needs to be like our own something instead of him sitting at the table of somebody else's thing. Who said he's not trying to do that? Why can't people just stay tuned and see what he's trying to do? That's the part that infuriates me to no end. I just can't get over that. That's just kind of what I wanted to say on that. I was going to move on unless you had another note.
It's right here at the tip of my tongue. I'm going to let it out. I think that, and you brought it up slightly a little bit earlier in terms of Jay-Z's new financial status and, people being so involved that, him having this X amount of money and what he should do with it. And I'm just going to have to say this real plain and real simple. That is that man's money. That ain't none of our damn business. He has a legacy to create for his children and something to leave for his family. At the end of the day, we understand that, we can live a decent life if you throw maybe X amount of dollars at some of us, and that's great. But this man is thinking about creating something that his family, where he came from, never had. And he's breaking, what is it? He's breaking a chain. He's breaking a cycle for his family. You know what I'm saying? I can only imagine how overwhelming that is. You know what I'm saying? Even with what me and Evan are doing with this podcast, whether it goes anywhere or not, we're taking a stab. You know what I'm saying? We're taking a stab at doing something to change cycles and break cycles within our own families and stuff of that sort. So I'm not going to sit here and look at this man's money and determine whether or not how involved or not he should be, especially monetarily. There are different ways to be effective. He's taking himself, I'm Jay-Z. I'm worth $1 billion. I'm worth Jay-Z. And if I throw myself at this cause, if I throw myself at this issue, it's going to raise attention. Shit, we talking about it now.
And just to kind of go into what you're saying, something that I'm always thinking of the rebuttal. I try to be real sensible when I think about things. I'm serious. I always try to think if there's a better way to think about something, I'm gonna try to think that way. I'm not finna just sit on any thought because that's just how I want to think. So, in regards to Jay-Z being for Jay-Z, I've heard arguments in that case as well. Like a lot of people don't like Jay-Z for being a quote unquote capitalist. And I America is a capitalistic society. How could you be? How could you be anything else? And how could you be anything else in America? I mean, I'm not saying that it's a good thing to be a capitalist. I definitely have my issues with capitalism. I can talk forever about how money has flowed into politics, and it has like politicians and corporations influencing our politicians, which has us in the situation that we in right now. But that's neither here nor there. I know capitalism isn't a great thing, but I think that I don't know if, and I could be wrong about this, but I don't think I've ever heard Jay-Z say he's a capitalist. People are just putting that label on him because he has accumulated so much money over this time. I mean, but I feel like people want Jay-Z to, like, say he got $500 million for this partnership that he's in. I feel like people gonna want Jay-Z to give $400 million to the streets, and if he don't do that, then it's fuck Jay-Z. He ain't for nobody, and I feel like that's us in his pockets, and we don't need to be in that man's pockets like that.
And not only that, but at the end of the fucking day, no matter how much money he makes, this is this man going out and doing the fucking work. He's working. Let's not forget that. This man is working. That's just like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's great if Beyonce went and tore her ass off and said, you know what, y'all can have all the money that I made from all this performing. I know some of y'all probably looking at this fucking screen like, the fuck you talking about? Is that, you have to keep it in that mindset that this is work. This man is working. Okay, so what? He don't work like how we work. He's on a total, he works himself up to being able to have that type of flexibility to have that. We gotta say, dog, like I can't help but tip my hat and hope to get to where you are. And we have to keep in mind that it's not saying that Jay-Z doesn't give a fuck and he's not giving out any money, he's not doing anything. We know that's a bold-faced ass lie. This man has been contributing. He's been contributing for quite some time, even when we didn't even know this man was
even when we didn't even know, and that's my thing. People will sit here and say, Jay-Z ain't did this, Jay-Z ain't did that. Bitch, how do you know? How do you know? I've heard for at least a decade of little stories of Jay-Z and Beyonce's philanthropic endeavors. Like, they have done little things that I'd be like, oh dang, so they be doing stuff.
Exactly.
Like, why they got to announce everything just so when right now when they're making the big moves, we don't accuse them of not giving because we ain't got $1 from Beyonce or Jay-Z. Us personally.
You know what I'm saying? I always look at things on the bigger scope. I look at it on the terms of, as a people, what this means to us. And the bigger, like for instance, when I reference him, if he does have a seat at the table, I'm going to clap and my ass off, you know what I'm saying? Because that's still a move for someone else to be able to come and to be able to have a seat. You know what I'm saying? I've heard issues up and down about this, that, and the other, and there might be another conversation as this story fully develops. Mm-hmm. But as it sits right now, it's still to be watched. Let's just put it in perspective. But at the same token, kudos Jay-Z for what you're doing. From what it seemed like you wanted something.
Right.
And I'm just going to say that much.
And I had a couple of other issues. Well, not me necessarily, but I felt were fair arguments in regard to certain people bringing up Jay-Z and this could be a whole nother issue, but I'll just breeze over it. In regard to him getting involved with the Occupy Wall Street movement, there were some people who had got upset with him for selling shirts that said Occupy All Streets, and they were upset with him for not giving or donating some of that money to the people who were at Wall Street occupying. he didn't give those individuals money, and I'm not mad at that, y'all. I'm not mad at that. I'm gonna just say that because what I saw when I looked that up, Jay-Z was saying that ultimately when it was with the whole Occupy movement, Occupy Wall Street, in regard to the big banks, kind of well, not kind of, they pretty much stole everybody's money and got bailed out. So people were protesting for that reason, but with what Jay-Z was doing when he said occupy all streets, he was trying to bring attention to the financial disparity on all streets, in the black community and everything. He was selling these shirts on like Rockaware.com, or I think it was Rockaware at the time. So he's selling all this stuff online. I don't. Again, I mean, people can be upset, but I'm not mad that he didn't give those individuals money in that regard. So that's that on that.
Well, in the terms of in business and how people have been made into billionaires and stuff of that sort, it's not about what may have sparked an idea in someone for them to create revenue. Sometimes it's not always about that. It's about who actually took that idea and made something out of it. And I know that sometimes we always kind of look back and be like, well, it was my idea. Well, if you look at things in a legal perspective, it's all about who took it and who actually did something with it. First, at least.
Right. So
So basically I'm saying that the whole idea of expecting something for seemingly nothing. I think we just have a weird way, America, of looking at some things. That's all.
Yeah, I don't think we ever. I'm not asking for no money to protest. Like, I'm not about.
Like, if you about, I just feel like the people were about what they were about, then that should be that. And I think that him just taking a message that you could say, oh well, I think that meant that, or that was related to that. Whether it was or wasn't,
well then, like he can do that, and he did that, and that's what it is. Like,
yeah,
that's
that's that's what it is.
And something else that's really touchy. I didn't research much of it, but I'm vaguely familiar with it. So the whole issue with the Barclays Center. You know about the Barclays Center in Brooklyn?
Yeah, I know a little bit about it because I had to do some research in school.
Yeah, so there was. Yeah, and again, I didn't do much research on it, but I know that a lot of African American or black and brown people were displaced because of the new stadium, and there was a lot of money promised. I'm not certain at this point how much money has been given out or what has happened, but I don't believe. And at this point, I'm completely comfortable with anybody think that I'm cooning for Jay-Z. If y'all want to think that that's what it is. But I don't believe Jay-Z had anything to do with those individuals being displaced. If Jay-Z is a capitalist, he is. He's going to jump on something that's making money.
You have to remember where he came from and how he started. And I think that it makes him no different than anybody else. Or anyone. I mean, hell, if we even look at how McDonald's, the way in which we know it came to be, there was some shady shit that went underneath all that. But at the same token, it's not to say that what he did was shady. But it's just to say that he was thinking about, and I have to always keep in mind, he was thinking about the future that he had in mind for his children, and he was doing nothing else. And and I hate to say it this way, but any non-black or brown person was doing to get to where they needed to get to make that money.
And when it comes to Jay-Z himself, I just find it unfair to accuse him, which is what I think you're essentially doing if you put the blame on him, accusing him of displacing these individuals where they were probably already going by the time that, or they were probably already had got the notice that they have to leave by the time that Jay-Z got into the mix. Like, he isn't personally evicting people. Like, I feel like that is a very huge leap to make. And it's nothing that Jay-Z solely should be responsible for, when I don't necessarily see anybody placing the verbal blame on any other individual who might have been responsible. Don't put it all on him when he is not solely responsible for it. I think that's just completely unfair. And honestly, when it comes to this whole topic, I just want to kind of finish it off by kind of talking about how I really feel I feel weird about how the media is portraying this whole story. It feels like there's more like of like an insidious or like a collective effort to.
I will say what I'm more disappointed at. I definitely am disappointed in the way that it's being created, but I'm gonna say this: Black and Brown America. I'm very more so disappointed in y'all motherfucking asses. No tea.
This is Myles talking.
This is Myles talking. Yes, and because this is what I have to say, and I do understand why you would be upset initially upon like hearing it, because even I was like, the fuck. But at the same token, truth be told, I really don't want to be the worst thing. Jumping out there, making all these allegations and statements and really not having full context or details, or to make, certain statements as if Jay-Z has everything to do with Colin Kaepernick being blackballed. That's not true. And I'm loosely phrasing that, but that was a comment that I had read, was that someone that did a report saying that Jay-Z had something to do with it. That's not accurate. That's not accurate at all. And so, with all of what's going on in terms of people reporting stories and stuff, I would just want to say this to Black and Brown America. Fully understand your news source, what angle they are reporting on, and why they are reporting the way that they are. Pay attention to the details. Google a little bit more and to see what exactly they are breaking down and saying in these particular stories. I'm definitely going to press it on myself to do a little bit more as well. But I just really, really would like to see that, because we should be the last ones. We should be how we was with O.J. Simpson. We rolled with O.J. Simpson down to the verdict, and to be truth be told, I don't know what this man did or didn't do, but we rolled down with him being not guilty. And so the thing is that we should give Jay-Z that same benefit of doubt, and saying that, hey, I don't fully understand this shit, but hey, you know what? Let's see how this ride out. That's all I got.
Well, me personally, I am. Hey, Black America. That was not me just talking. I'm not upset at anyone for digesting whatever news that they choose to consume. I mean, that's really on them. My gripe is with the media. I feel like there's a lot of like the CNNs, the NBCs, I wanted to say some because I wanted to say the Atlantic. I
was about to say yes, the Atlantic.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of different articles. Damn near every article that I have seen on it has had a negative. It had a negative skew to it. It was skewed negatively, if you will. But I found that to be just strange, and me being the conspiracy theorist that I am, I feel like it's a certain group of powerful people who probably are kind of laying the bricks to try to either, if not just get him out of the position that he's in with the NFL, to get him out of here completely. I don't know why I haven't found one news article that has highlighted the positive things that I've gone through earlier in this podcast that could come out of this partnership. I don't know why I haven't found one article. And please, if y'all out there, if y'all reading this at the time of the airing, please send it to me and show me one article that has had a positive outlook on what this whole partnership is, because I haven't found it, and it's confused me and it's disappointed me.
I think that's all. I mean, I agree. Most of the stories that I found when I just Googled the simple 2 sentences definitely pulled out a lot of negative. But at the same token, I did find a story or two that definitely painted this whole situation a little bit differently than the way that a lot of people were reporting it. They actually used, and from what I could identify as, what people were loosely saying, to actually say, no, this is the full context of what was said. And so this was a little out of context. And I was trying to like slide back to it, but I can't. But just on that note, it is not a lot of positive out there.
It's not a lot of positive out there being reported, but the thing that I guess calms me down, assuages my anxiety, if you will, is Jay-Z saying that he's been in this position before in regard to how people are viewing him in this with this story being out there. He said he's been in this position before, and he is, and I'm paraphrasing, he's comfortable in that spot, and he knows that people will see the work that has been done or that's going to be done in the future. So, talk your shit, but I feel like he's ready for it. He's comfortable in that space, and honestly, even if I'm wrong, I feel like we'll all see eventually.
So I'm in with this because this is what I was actually looking for. So in terms of some things that were said, and one of the things that came out of it, and it kind of gave me a little hope, between Goodell, which I guess he's the commissioner.
Yeah, Roger Goodell.
Yeah, and Jay-Z. And so that quote, "We don't want people to come in and necessarily agree with us. We want people to come in and tell us what we can do better." And so that statement definitely kind of gave me a little more insight to the fact that this isn't just a deal as normal, but this actually comes with I think probably some of what Jay-Z was wanting, and that was to be able to bring about some change. And instead of things being handled the way that it was with Kaepernick in the past, let's work together to kind of do something a little bit better. That's what I kind of took from it. And so I'm still here for what comes next.
Yeah, and even if that's fake love coming from Roger Goodell, I still say that's going to be real money that flows into the communities that need it. And I think that really needs to be the that has been the end game. And I think that people need to realize that, and I think people need to stop trying to tear Jay-Z down for helping those communities. And if a person can't understand that, then I'm sorry for you, but I've done the best that I can in that regard. But with that being said, I think we are all set here. I think we are talked out.
Yep, I'm there.
All right, cool. So this has been Colloquium, everybody, and we'll see y'all next time.